I'm always here.
Still kind of kismety. I'm glad I caught the two of you together.
Jasika Nicole plays a recurring role in the reboot of the iconic 80s sitcom Punky Brewster. Jessica plays Lauren, Cherry's girlfriend, and becomes part of Punky's family throughout the season. We chatted with Jessica about her role in the reboot, her career as a queer woman of color, and creating sustainable fashion.
I like this arrangement.
Hello, my name is Io, and today I will be chatting with Jessica Nicole about her career, life, and role in the recent reboot of Punky Brewster. Hello, Jessica.
Hi, how are you?
Everything's good, thank you. And you?
Good. I'm good, thank you very much.
You're welcome. I wanted to ask, how did it feel to join this show that you had watched when growing up? What did you expect before?
Um, I was excited to be able to be a part of a show that I had some context about. Obviously, reboots have become very popular over the past few years, and I gotta be honest, I haven't really watched any of them. Punky Brewster was the first one that I felt I think excited about because it felt like a really integral part of my childhood because it was one of the only TV shows that felt like it was really focused on kids. And most of the shows we had were animated shows, were cartoons, and I loved cartoons, but it was really nice to have a show that felt like it was catered to me. I was like 6 when it came out, so I was definitely in the demographic of, the age of the girls and kind of what they were going through. So it was a real honor to be invited back onto the show because I think it's a really wholesome, heartwarming, family oriented kind of show. And I don't think we can ever have too many of those, even though I prefer horror.
How would you describe your relationship with the cast of the show?
Everybody was really lovely. I particularly loved working with the kids. The kids, some of them are teenagers, some of them are kids, but they were all very talented, had a great work ethic, and were just really fun to be around. And I think I really liked them because they were still kids. It can be really tricky, particularly in this industry, to have very young kids. Pushed into this very professional life from such an early age. And so I love that they seemed like kids. They were just kids who were very talented, but they were still silly and goofy, and we still had a lot of fun together.
When talking about yourself, your life as a queer woman of color, and your career as an actress, how did it feel to finally get to represent who you are on screen? Because you said in previous interviews that you hadn't gotten a queer role until now.
Yes, it's true. I've never played a queer character in network television, although my friends and I did make a movie several years ago at this point, maybe like 5 years ago, called Suicide Kale. And, we all wrote it. And so we all got to play queer characters. So that's technically my very first time playing a queer character, but that's in the indie film scene, which obviously is very different than network television. So I got to be honest with you. I'm really shocked that it's taken this long. And disappointed, to be honest. Obviously, nobody wants to be pigeonholed into one specific kind of role. And, I'm not so interested in playing a particular sexuality. I just want to play a well-written role. And so I want there to be more well-written roles that are for people who are people of color and queer people and disabled actors and trans actors and, all of that, obviously. But Hollywood has a tendency to, I think they think it's safer to hire straight actors to play queer roles. So they feel like they're ticking the box of having, like, a diverse storyline, but it's like they feel uncomfortable to have an actual queer actor play that role. Because I think there's still a conversation about, women in film and television being sexy and, available. Like, obviously, actors are not available in any kind of way aside from what they portray on screen, but there's this fantasy, I think, that Hollywood is always trying to boost up where, and everybody on television is sexy and they could be your girlfriend or they could be your boyfriend or whatever it is. And they think that they're cutting that off if they have like an out queer actor playing a role. I don't know what they're thinking, to be honest. That's like the only sense I can make out of it, because it doesn't make any sense to me. There are not a ton of out queer actors of color in Hollywood. So you would think that I feel like I should be working all the time. Whenever there's like a queer role written for a woman who is like in my age range, I'm always like, yeah, I'm right here. Like, I'll go in for it. And it just doesn't happen that way. So I'm disappointed that it's taken this long, but I'm happy to finally be able to knock it off my acting bucket list. I've finally played a queer role on network television.
Hopefully, after this one, more people will come to you.
We'll see. We will see. Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Besides talking about media, what I wanted to ask about your hobbies and new passions. And you've said that you don't buy fast fashion anymore and that now everything that you wear, you've made yourself. So I wanted to ask if it was liberating to channel your self-expression through art in your clothing that obviously you make.
I guess it is liberating. I've been doing it for so long, and it never felt like I was doing it in order to like make a statement. It was really something that I just wanted to do for myself. But now, of course, my making is a big part of my presence on social media. Like, nobody ever follows me because I'm on television. People follow me because I sew and I make shoes, which, I'm completely fine with. And now it does feel like a bit of a movement, the slow fashion movement, the being thoughtful about what we invite into our homes, where we get it from, thinking about who made it, if it's ourselves or if it's somebody else, where did the materials and tools come from? Because the fast fashion industry right now, it's not just a mark on the environment in a negative way. It's a mark on communities, mostly communities of color, people in other countries who are working in these factories to make these tank tops that people in the West might wear 2 or 3 times and then like throw away or send off to Goodwill or something. And then it just gets stuck in a landfill, and it's usually polyester because polyester is one of the cheapest materials, and polyester doesn't biodegrade in the same way that more natural materials do or organic materials do. And so it just sits there for years and years and years. And that's obviously terrible. But we also have to think of the human element of how the fast fashion industry impacts our world globally. And it's so easy to turn your eyes away to that if you are in the West. There's hardly any more clothing factories, at least here in the United States. Pretty much everything is sourced out to other countries. And so it's so easy to just go to a store and not think about how that item got there. I feel like people walk into an H&M and they're like, it's magic. Everything has been restocked. And every week I come in here and there's something new. And it's not magic at all. It has a deeply impactful cost on the environment and on the communities of people who are working in the factories to make these clothes even be tactile things that we can purchase in the first place. So I would say that initially, like, I've always been a maker since I was a kid. I've always liked to be busy with my hands. And as I've grown up, I found a way to kind of make my art functional, because like I'm everything I'm wearing right now I made. And so not only is it a way for me to express myself, but it also it's usable stuff. Like, I wear all my own clothes, and I enjoy doing it, and I enjoy getting people, I don't necessarily want to convert everybody to be a sewist, because that's not reasonable or realistic or possible for everybody. But even to just get in the mindset of remembering that every single thing that you wear, hands made it. I think sometimes people think that it, again, just kind of like magically went through a factory and came out a t-shirt. and that's not true. There's a human element to it. And so even recognizing that, I'm hoping will allow people to be more thoughtful about where they spend their money, how they spend their money, um, and supporting the slow fashion movement whenever possible. Not everybody can afford the slow fashion movement. Slow fashion is expensive for a reason. The reason that fast fashion is so cheap is because they're not they're not paying enough to get what it like they're not paying living wages for the people who are making these things. And slow fashion is about making sure that the people who make these items of clothing are getting paid a living wage, that the materials are sustainable. All that stuff costs money. And so, when these people do these like hauls of clothes and they like go to Zara and they're like, I spent $150 and I got 85 items of clothing. And it's like, girl, that's not right. That it's not supposed to work out like that. So yeah, I'm just hoping that maybe people who are interested in the stuff that I do will be able to educate themselves a little bit more and think about, the impact that they have on the environment and on the culture as well.
Everything you do seems really inspiring and admirable, and I feel like there's a lot of pages out of your book that people should be taking, and that's some great work.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for everything today. It was really nice meeting you,
You
and
as well.
I hope everything goes well in life and in your career.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.